Let me tell you, if you ever want to know what fear smells like, just step into a diner kitchen the moment a biker gang walks in like they own the place. That's exactly what happened to me one thick, sticky Thursday night at the Iron Ladle. Our little highway-side greasy spoon on Route 16, the kind of joint where the pie's always too sweet, the coffee's burnt to hell, and the regulars could recite the breakfast menu backwards while half asleep. I was elbows deep in dishwater, wrestling dried egg off a cast iron skillet, sweat trickling down my neck, praying the shift would end before midnight without a grease fire or another broken coffee machine. You know, the usual. Then, bang. The front door slammed open like a hurricane had punched it off its hinges, and in came the iron vultures. Leather vests, beer bellies, muddy boots, road dust, and bad intentions. 7 of them, moving like they owned the floor. They didn't come for pancakes. Let's just say that up front. Bruno, their brick wall of a leader, growled at Shannon, who nearly dropped the pot of coffee she'd just brewed. "We're hungry, sweetheart. Don't take all night," he said, with a voice that could have cracked cement. They shoved a teenage busboy out of the way, cackled when he face-planted into the linoleum. The kid looked around wide-eyed, but the customers did what customers do when real fear walks in. They stared real hard at nothing. I gripped the chef's knife I was drying and kept my head low, praying they'd eat, belch, and roll back out the way they came. But of course, this is done low. Luck never clocks in. Bruno swaggered to the kitchen window, voice rolling in like thunder. "Hey, dishwasher, you hiding back there? Got any soap for my boys?" Laughter, sharp and cruel, echoed through the diner. Then Snake Neck, the one with a coiled serpent inked down his throat, slipped behind the counter and ducked into the kitchen, grinning with the kind of look that says he's broken fingers for fun. "Let's see who's scrubbing our plates," he sneered, breath reeking of old beer and stale violence. He leaned in close enough I could count the grease streaks in his stringy hair. "What are you gonna do, throw soap at me?" He smirked. Something clicked in me. Maybe it was old muscle memory from my army mess hall days in Kandahar, or maybe I was just done being quiet. My hand moved on its own, grabbed the carving knife, gave it a spin, once, twice, so fast he flinched, and I didn't blink. The blade gleamed under the cheap fluorescent lights, steady as my pulse. "You lost?" I asked, calm like a storm building. Bruno laughed, but I stepped in real close, pressed the knife's tip just under Snake Neck's wrist, light enough to draw blood, sharp enough to show I wasn't bluffing. "Next move decides everything," I said. Nobody moved. Not a damn soul. Another biker tried sneaking through the back. I didn't think. I grabbed the soup pot and hurled it across the room, caught him dead in the gut. He dropped like a sack of dry rice. 2 down. Bruno roared and lunged, all 300 pounds of fury, but I slipped low and cracked him across the jaw with the butt of my knife. He staggered back, stumbled, and landed square in the deep fryer. Oil popped and hissed like it was clapping for me. Shannon screamed. The kid from earlier dove under a booth, probably regretting asking for overtime, and 3 bikers still stood, but the fight had left their boots. I stared them down, both knives in hand now, not raised, just visible, steady. "Get out," I said. One opened his mouth to throw some threat, but I cut him off. "Already lived through worse. I don't regret a damn thing." They dragged Bruno out, soaked and smoking, his eyes promising fire. "We'll see you again," he spat. "Bring napkins," I shot back. "You'll need 'em." The cops showed up 20 minutes too late, lights flashing, asking questions that didn't matter anymore. After the dust settled, Shannon came up to me, voice still shaking. "Where'd you learn to do that?" she asked. I shrugged. "Used to be a culinary instructor, Army Mess Hall, Afghanistan." Her jaw hit the floor. "So, you're like combat trained?" I just dried my hands, turned back to the sink, and fired up the washer like it was any other night. Scrub, rinse, stack, but the air was different now, calmer. For once, fear had packed up and left the ladle. Word spread fast, faster than syrup on a hot plate. Some folks called me a hero. Others looked at me like they weren't sure who or what. They'd just watched. Didn't matter. I kept working. Doubles, kept my head down, didn't say much. But this is Dunlow, and trouble doesn't take weekends off. That Monday, just before closing, I heard them. Engines, louder than before. I peeked out the kitchen window. 8 of them this time. lined up like a goddamn cavalry. Bruno in front, chin bruised, pride raw, and this time, I didn't panic. I picked up my knife. Again. I unrolled my own knife kit under the counter, just like they taught us in the service. 6 blades, each one sharp enough to shave your soul clean. No hesitation. Bruno stormed in, smirking like the devil after a win. You made us look weak. Dishwasher, he growled, and I didn't even bother to look up. You are weak, I said, voice flat. You just don't like being reminded. That's when this new guy stepped forward, big as a commercial fridge and twice as mean, cracking his knuckles like he wanted to crush something. Let's take this outside, he said, all grunt and threat. But before I could answer, a voice. Behind me cut through the tension like a whistle in boot camp, a woman's voice, calm but commanding. We all turned. She was older, gray hood pulled low over sharp eyes like broken glass, standing like someone who'd stared down artillery. Donna Mays. Retired Master Sergeant. No one even knew she was in town, but there she was, stepping up next to me without flinching. You want to fight? She said to Bruno, her tone steady, deadly. You're not walking out of here. Bruno tried to laugh it off, but when Donna nodded at me, I damn near chuckled. You followed me here? I asked. Last time I was 2 booths over, she said with a smirk. Figured you might need backup. Before either of us could say more, 2 of Bruno's goons rushed forward. I sidestepped the first one, cracked his knee with the mop handle, drove an elbow into his ribs, and dropped him like a sack of busted plumbing. Donna grabbed another by the collar and flung him straight through the pie case. Cherry filling. Exploded like a bad special effect. Bruno charged at me, roaring like an idiot. I slashed his arm, shallow and fast, a whisper across the skin. Just enough to say, try me again. He screamed, called me a psycho. No, I told him, wiping the blade. Just trained. Then came more engines, louder this time, but not bikers. 2 pickups screeched into the lot, and out stepped Karen Switchblade Park, ex-Marine turned long-haul trucker, and Jada Knox, former Air Force security with a jaw carved from granite. I blinked in surprise. Donna just smirked. I might have put out a call on the Veteran Sisters Network, she said. And suddenly, the Iron Vultures weren't surrounded by scared waitresses and exhausted cooks anymore. They were surrounded by women who'd seen combat zones, who'd led platoons, who didn't flinch at empty threats. Jada stepped forward and tilted her head. So y'all like bullying dishwashers, huh? She said, like it was a genuine question. That was it. The last of the bikers bolted, stumbling over each other for their bikes. Bruno was the last out, clutching his bleeding arm, eyes full of hate, still spitting venom. You'll regret this, he snarled. I cleaned my knife against a rag, slow and easy. You've said that before, I told him. Let me know when it sticks. After the mess was cleaned up and the adrenaline wore off, I sat with Donna, Karen, and Jada at the counter, sipping burnt diner coffee while laughter echoed in the air like it finally belonged there. I didn't think I'd find backup in a place like this. Donna raised her mug, eyes twinkling under the hood. Doesn't matter where you're stationed or what you're wearing. Once a warrior, always a warrior. And right there in the Iron Ladle, surrounded by clattering plates, greasy menus, and the faint smell of scorched pie, I realized something. Nobody ever really knows who's behind the apron, or what kind of stories soak into dishwater and chrome. But when you mess with one of us, you get all of us. So tell me, what would you have done? Would you have kept your head down, or picked up the knife? Let me know down below. Because sometimes, in a world that underestimates the quiet ones, justice walks in wearing an apron and smells like coffee grounds.